Hello, shalom aleichem. My video storage went out, so I want to finish the Torah portion. We left off here. We finished verse 26 in Vayishlach, Parshas Vayishlach, chapter 34, verse 26. We finished where Hamor and Shechem were killed by the blade of the sword by Shimon and Levi, Dinah's brothers. And verse 27 is where we left off, and we will begin with verse 27. All right. The sons of Jacob came upon the slain, and they plundered the city which had defiled their sister. Verse 27, Rashi, upon the slain, to strip the slain of their garments, and thus did Onkelos render it, to strip the slain. All right, verse 28, Torah. Their flocks and their cattle and their donkeys, whatever was in the city and whatever was in the field, they took. Verse 29, Torah. All their wealth and all their children and their wives they took captive, and they plundered, as well as everything in the house. Verse 29, Rashi. This means their wealth, and similarly means wealth in. Made me all this wealth, and Israel will amass wealth, and they will leave their wealth to others. They took captive. This denotes captivity. This is why its accent is on the last syllable. Verse 30, Torah. Jacob said to Shimon and Levi, you have discomposed me, making me odious among the inhabitants of the land, among the Canaanite and among the Perizzite. I am few in number, and should they gather together and attack me, I will be annihilated, I and my household. Verse 30, Rashi. You have discomposed. This is related to this word meaning cloudy waters. Jacob said, my mind is not clear now. And an Agadic interprets it as meaning. An Agada interprets it as meaning the wine in the barrel was clear, but you made it cloudy, which means the Canaanites had a tradition that they would fall into the hands of the children of Jacob. But they said that it would not happen until you, Israel, will become fruitful and make the land your heritage. Until some time in the future when Israel would be more populous. Therefore, they were silent and did not object to Jacob and his family dwelling in the land of Canaan. We are few in number, a few men. Verse 31, Torah. And they said, should he treat our sister like a harlot? Should he treat our sister, Rashi 31, should he treat our sister like a harlot wantonly? This is rendered by Targum Onkelos as our sister. Verse 1, chapter 35, Torah. God said to Jacob, arise, go up to Bethel, and dwell there, and make an altar there to God who appeared to you when you fled from Esau your brother. Verse 1, Rashi, arise, go up. Since you delayed fulfillment of your vow, you were punished, and this came to you from your daughter. Verse 2, Torah. So Jacob said to his household and to all who were with him, discard the alien gods that are in your midst. Cleanse yourselves and change your clothes. Then let us arise and let us go up to Bethel. I will make there an altar to God, who answered me in my time of distress and was with me on the road that I traveled. Verse 2, Rashi, the alien gods which are in your possession from the booty of Shechem, cleanse yourselves of idols and change your clothes in your possession of a garment of idolatry. Lest there be in your possession a garment of idolatry. Verse 4, Torah. So they gave to Jacob all the alien gods that were in their possession, as well as the rings that were in their ears, and Jacob buried them underneath the elm near Shechem. Verse 4, Rashi, the elm. It is a type of non-fruit-bearing tree. This means next to Shechem. Verse 5, Torah. They journeyed, and there was a godly terror on the cities which were around them, so that they did not pursue the children of Jacob. Verse 5, this means terror. Verse 6, Torah. Thus Jacob came to Luz in the land of Canaan. It is Bethel. He and all the people who were with him. And he built an altar there and called that place El Bethel, for it was there that God had been revealed to him during his flight from his brother. All right, verse 7, Rashi. El Bethel, this means the Holy One, blessed is he, is in Bethel. The revelation of his Shekhinah, imminent presence, is in Bethel. There are words missing, the Vav, which served as a prefix at the beginning, such as the verse, behold, he is in the house of Mechir, son of Amil, in which this word has the same meaning as in the house of Mechir, and literally your father's house, which has the same meaning as in your father's house. God had been revealed to him in many places. There are terms which refer to godliness as mastery in the plural, such as Joseph's master, and if its owner is with him, using the plural noun form, literally, its owners. And it does not say the singular noun, its owner. So too, forms of this word here, which are used in the sense of judge and authority, are mentioned in the plural. But you will not find any of the other names of God in the plural. Verse 8, Torah. Deborah, the wet nurse of Rebekah, died, and she was buried below Bethel, below the Alon, and he named it Alon Bachut. Verse 8, Torah, Rashi. Deborah, the wet nurse of Rebekah, died. What is Deborah's matter in the household of Jacob? Why is Deborah in Bethel with Jacob's household? But she was there because Rebekah had said to Jacob, then I will send and bring you from there. She went. She sent Deborah to him, to Padan Aram, to tell him to depart from there. And she died on the way back. I learned this from the words of Rabbi Moshe Hadarshan. Below Bethel, the city was situated on the mountain, and she was buried at the foot of the mountain, below the Alon. This is rendered by Targum Onkelos as, at the bottom of the plain. For there was a plain above, along the incline of the mountain, and the burial was below it. They used to call the plain of Beth El Alon, and an Agada interprets the word here as follows. Jacob was informed there of a second cause of mourning, for he was told about his mother that she had died, and Alon in the Greek language means another, as if to say another cause of mourning, since they concealed the day of her death, so that people should not curse the womb from which Esau emerged. Scripture, too, did not publicize her, but did speak of her death explicitly, but did not speak of her death explicitly. Verse 9, Torah. And God appeared to Jacob again when he came from Padan Aram, and he blessed him. Verse 9, Rashi, again, a second time, in this place, once when he was going to Laban, and once upon his return. And he blessed him with the blessing of mourners. Verse 10, Torah. Then God said to him, your name is Jacob. Your name shall no longer be called Jacob, but Israel shall your name be called. And he called his name Israel. Verse 10, Torah, Rashi. Your name shall no longer be called Jacob, which connotes a person who comes in stealth and treachery. Rather, your name will connote officer and nobleman. Verse 11, Torah. And God said to him, I am El Shaddai, be fruitful and multiply. A nation and a congregation of nations shall descend from you. The kings and kings shall issue from your loins. Verse 11, Rashi. I am El Shaddai, for I have the sufficiency to bless. For my blessings are sufficient for those who are being blessed. Be fruitful and multiply. God gave Jacob this particular blessing because Benjamin was not yet born, although Rachel was already pregnant with him. A nation, this refers to Benjamin. Nations, this refers to Manasseh and Ephraim, who are destined to come forth from Joseph. They are included in the number of the tribes. And kings, this refers to Saul and Ishbosheth, who were from the tribe of Benjamin, who was not yet born. Abner expounded this verse when he coronated Ishbosheth, and the other tribes also expounded it and reassociated with Benjamin after their civil war against the tribe. For it is written that at first the other tribes said, but they retracted and said, if Benjamin would not be counted among the tribes, the Holy One, blessed is he, would not have said to Jacob, and kings shall issue from your loins, a nation and a congregation of nations. For his children are destined to become nations, like the number of the other nations of the world, who are 70 peoples. So too the entire Sanhedrin is composed of 70 sages. Alternatively, they are called nations, because his children are destined to bring offerings at the time of the prohibition of Bamos, like non-Jewish nations do. And this will be in the days of Eliyahu, Elijah the prophet. All right. And that was the fifth reading. That was the fifth reading. And I will now read from the Daily Wisdom of the Parshiot of the Lubavitcher Rebbe, Rabbi Menachem Mendel Schneerson. Fifth reading is here. What I just read was chapter 34, verse 1, through chapter 35, verse 11. But this video is the second part to the first video, to the first beginning of the first video, where I started with chapter 34, verse 1. All right. Jacob's daughter Dinah was abducted and violated by the prince of Shechem. The king then brazenly suggested that his and Jacob's clans intermarry. Jacob's sons replied that the citizens of Shechem would first have to circumcise themselves, to which they readily agreed. When the citizens of Shechem were recovering from their circumcision, Jacob's sons, Shimon and Levi, executed all the males who were guilty by complicity in Dinah's violation and rescued Dinah. The title of this wisdom on the Parshiot is called Uncompromising Devotion. They said, should he treat our sister like a promiscuous woman? Shimon and Levi understood that the prince of Shechem's rape of Dinah had profound spiritual repercussions. Just as husband and wife are two halves of the same soul, the connection between God and us is a total and intrinsic bond. Therefore, any act that betrays this bond is one of rapacious spiritual adultery. It was this consciousness that this offense was striking at the very essence of the family's collective soul, that everything that made life worth living was at stake, that prompted Shimon and Levi to react instinctively and so drastically. Similarly, when we cultivate the marital consciousness of our relationship with God, we will not want to do anything that threatens that relationship. And conversely, we will cherish anything that enhances that relationship, any good deed, the fulfillment of any commandment, or any opportunity to study Torah, performing it with wholehearted enthusiasm. And that is the daily wisdom on the Parshiot and the Torah reading, the fifth Aliyah, the fifth reading of Vayishlach. All right, Lele Tov.